Here she is, Alison Moran, joining us as she does every Tuesday morning during Snowman in the Morning. How are you, my dear? Great to have you back.
And it's great to be here, Brian. You're looking good. Hello there. Good to see you again as well.
The winds of the Windy City have brought Alison back to us.
I love it.
Love to be here. Believe me, arguing sports. You guys are a hell of a lot easier than my previous teams. I've got to tell you that. The broadcast teams I've worked with wouldn't give women's sports the time of day, hardly. And
then Allison ran into me covering a Sky game, and I started pulling out my equipment, my computer, my mixer, and then she saw me pull my headset out, and she goes, "What are you doing?" I'm going to do what I came here to do. I'm going to call the game.
Yeah.
Lit Allison up. A few of our friends behind us were lit up. And you're actually going to do that? Yes, I am.
Yeah.
I got like 100 calls after that game. Was I the official voice? No, but they wanted me to be.
Yeah.
They campaigned. Listen, Allison will verify this. They campaigned to the Sky for 2 years for me to be the play-by-play voice. 2 years.
I have to ask a question. Do you think, up until now, to me at least, it seems like the four-letter network, ESPN, has like willfully ignored the WNBA up until now? Has that actually happened, or am I just confusing myself?
That has. I'll verify it myself, and Allison will too. That has happened.
It has. I will say that as it has gained popularity and respect, there has been an entirely different attitude within this time. I have been pleasantly surprised because as the progression has gone, as Caitlin Clark has gotten better acclimated to the league, as those numbers have risen. Take for example, last week when the NFL started. Think about this: the Indiana Fever was playing at the same time as Eagles Packers, and they still cracked over, like, it was 1.2 million viewers.
Yep, 1.2 million. Now, think about it, folks. It's at the same time the Eagles and Packers were playing in Brazil. I did the Fever game, despite everybody begging me to cover the Eagles. I'm like, what for?
Fever game was more exciting, for God's sakes. I mean,
I got 3,100.
Got injured.
Exactly. I got 3,100 viewers that night.
Yeah,
that Friday night. I got 3,100 viewers that night, and the fun's going to continue tomorrow. But let's talk about this. Angel Reese's rookie season, unfortunately, has come to a bitter end. It has. And it's sad. Out with a wrist injury. Yeah. For some reason, the internet blew up with rumors that she was pregnant. All these crazy assumptions. Where? How?
Exactly. Conspiracy theories will start.
Conspiracy theory like crazy, man.
It's insane. It's so insane. And so anyway, Angel Reese is such a huge loss. She has a hairline fracture. She could have played through the season, but she also risked very what do you call it? She risked tendonitis. She risked arthritis if she kept playing. She risked a bigger fracture. So I say kudos to her for putting her health first. And I think let's celebrate her accomplishments. You know, the most consecutive double doubles ever in the WNBA with 15, most rebounds 446, probably 50% of them were hers. We're catching her own rebounds, honestly. Averaging 13.6 points per game, 13.1 rebounds. And you've gotta give credit where credit's due to Shy Barbie. She has revitalized this franchise in such a way that you would not recognize it as the same team that that James Wade coached to the championship in 2021. So, to my mind, she has done everything that a rookie should have done and more. She has played like the professional that she is. She's taken a lot of slings and arrows, and
Yes.
and has elevated that game and elevated the expectations for the Chicago Sky this year. I
Mhm.
give her absolute kudos for being that woman, for stepping up as a rookie. You cannot imagine what this team would be without her. Moving forward, Kennedy Carter, Camila Cardozo, Izzy Harrison, all of those who have contributed over the last couple of games have got to step up
Yes.
in her absence. There's no substitute for Angel.
No.
Absolutely.
There isn't.
Absolutely no substitute. However, collectively, this is the idea behind the depth chart, right?
They can fill the holes when someone is injured.
Exactly.
Exactly. What Kennedy Carter has to do is find a way to score the 28 points per game that they did that she did for Dallas, and essentially eliminating them from the playoffs.
Yep.
That's what Kennedy has to do now that she's back from health protocols.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's just going to be very difficult, though, to hang on to that number 8 spot otherwise. And you've got to also look at Camila Cardozo. Now, she's been averaging 12 points and 7.3 rebounds, 2.7 blocks in the last 3 games. Pretty good, number 3. Number 3 player pick in the WNBA draft.
Very easy. Very easy.
Yep. And so, instead of the combination being the Barbie and Ken show, let's make it the Camilla and Ken show. How's that?
Mhm.
Let's make that happen. And maybe they can keep their number 8 spot in the playoffs.
Mhm.
Well, they have 5 games remaining.
Yeah.
And there are 3 teams that are chasing them. With the loss of Angel Reese, like you said a moment ago, it really dampens and hampers their chances to make the playoffs. Can they hold on to that number 8 seed?
That is a real good question. I have fleeting hope that they can. And the reason why it's fleeting is that right ahead of them is the Phoenix Mercury, who have gone 1-5 in the last 6 games. And they have been struggling to hold on to that spot. The Washington Mystics, who hold the number 9 spot currently, are kind of on the move, and they actually surpassed the Atlanta Dream this week, who have not been up to their usual. So the question is, are they going to be able to step up in a manner that's possible? Now, in their next few games, you've got basically they've won with the Sky. They have lost one to Vegas, and then won against the Sparks and Dallas. And here's the deal: they have to win against a winning team.
Yep.
They have not done that in so long. And I think it's going to take what I said before. It's going to take Kennedy Carter to take control of this team, make it hers for the next 5 games. There's no way that this team is going to keep that number 8 spot without such a deal, without having a new combination of players. Really communicating with each other, making sure that they get the points in the paint, as well as their outside shooting, which has been a problem all year. And so we have got to make a very concerted effort this year to be, if they really want it, they're going to have to step up.
Let's talk about some attendance records that Caitlin Clark and the Fever and Angel Reese and the Sky have
amassed.
Thank you. The Indiana Fever are the only team in the league that's averaging 15,000 plus. In fact, every single home game was sold out the moment they drafted Caitlin Clark.
Right.
I don't even have to look at the box. When I do my alternative play-by-play coverage, I don't even have to look at the box score to see the attendance. 17,274. And they have 2 tough ones coming up, both against the Aces tomorrow and Friday, to really test to see how far they have come in the second half of this year. When they got the Olympic break, when they had a chance to rest and pull it together, Indiana's been on fire, but now they face I believe the unanimous MVP in Asia Wilson, not once but twice, in their house in Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. As like you said, Allie, they got to win against the winning team.
Yes.
The Fever have done that, but now you got the playoffs coming up in about 2 weeks' time, and you got to really, really prove your mettle. And these 2 games against Las Vegas will, I believe, help set them up for the playoff atmosphere they have not experienced since 2016.
I sincerely hope so. I sincerely hope so. The one of the things that we can say about the Indiana Fever is that they are simply on fire. Period. They have they're 19 and 17 on the season right now, and considering where they came from, my God. I mean, let's just talk about that for a second. They're 8-2 since the Olympic break. I see that they might climb higher. They've already clinched their playoff spot, but their seeding is probably, like we said last week, it's going to be higher. It could be 4. It could be 5.
They could get one of those top. They could get one of those top 4.
I think so. Which would also give them a good advantage for home. You know, they could be playing the games at that field house, or they could be playing where the Pacers play, which would be very, very nice, wouldn't it?
It would be. And here's the thing: each one of those top 4 teams, Indiana's knocked them off.
Yeah,
during the season, they have knocked them off. They've knocked off the top 4 teams, so they can beat winning teams. Speaking of attendance, the Chicago Stars set a record at SeatGeek Stadium.
The Red Stars, yes, over 7,200 attendees at their welcome back from the Olympics. They pushed, and what's more, that attendance record, 15 years, the Red Stars have been playing. They usually average around 3,000, 4,000 a game. And I mean, they have not been at SeatGeek Stadium in Bridgeview since July, since way before the Olympic break. This year, the NWSL with the gold medalists on every team. They pushed past the 1.5 million attendance mark, which is the first for the NWSL and for the Chicago Red Stars, who are currently in the 8th position. How is it? What is it with our Chicago teams? They're 8th position, both of them. I'm going, what the hell?
That's wild, isn't it?
It's unreal. It's unreal.
That is crazy.
It is, and the thing is, and their record right now is 7-2-10.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and like I said, 8th place. It didn't help that their game back from all the Olympic hype was against the Orlando Pride, who leads the entire NWSL, and they have a stellar record. They're number 1, but. Here's one thing that the Red Stars have that they didn't have before the Olympic break. They have Ludmilla. Ludmilla is the Brazilian soccer star who is just joined the Red Stars, and I'm looking for her to get to join with Mallory Swanson, our Olympic hero, and Alyssa Nair, the goalie extraordinaire, to push them into the playoff spots for the next month. They've got a little time. As we talked about, the WNBA playoffs start on September 22nd. They are the Red Stars are starting shortly after that. So it is going to be a really interesting month for women's sports.
It is.
I'm so looking forward to it.
And then after that, women's college basketball will be back in play.
Yes.
And there is a possibility that old Snowman may be heading home to cover a women's basketball team to my old stomping grounds at Chicago State University. They've asked me to reach out to them. I'm going to reach out to them just to see what happens, because one of my best friends is now the coach there. This name should sound familiar. Corey Irvin.
Whoa.
Absolutely.
Whoa. I'm sorry, awesome. What?
You heard what I said, Victor. Corey Irvin is now the head coach at Chicago State, and Corey has given me many votes of confidence because I messaged her and I said I might just take a chance and try to cover you guys. Not only did she say go for it, but I think she's going to put in a few good words for me. And I also know one of the assistant coaches who is very, very dear to me, Shanice Jenkins.
Mm-hmm.
And I am the only person that gets to call her CJ, because I saw her play at Whitney Young, and I knew then, and I told her mother, I said, CJ is going to wreck some shop wherever she goes. And of course, CJ played at DePaul.
Mm-hmm.
When she got to DePaul, I said, one of these days she's going to be the player of the year in the Big East. Lo and behold, her senior season at DePaul, Shanice Jenkins, my little sister, CJ, was as the player of the year in the Big East. And I had a ton of messages coming from the family, and most of them were going, how did you know? Listen, CJ and DeFron Smart, who is also very dear to me because I saw her play at Whitney Young.
I remember her.
Yeah.
CJ and DeFron Smart were absolute terrors in the public league.
Especially.
Yes.
They were, especially when they played Marshall.
Yeah.
Why? Because, to borrow from the late, great Keith Jackson, those 2 point guards can run.
Mm-hmm.
To all the Whitney Young teams I had a chance to watch under Corey Irvin, they run.
That's right.
They run. That's how I knew. And I'm watching her, under the tutelage of DeFran Smart,
Mm-hmm.
seeing her grow into the player that she became at DePaul, it's like, man, I told everybody, it's like, man, that's easy. I saw her play at Whitney Young and defy the odds.
Yeah.
Because no one thought CJ would be the starting point guard after DeFran's graduated.
DeFran Smart, Chrissy Harper, who was a great
Chrissy Harper, who was a sharpshooter.
All of these.
I've seen some great women's basketball players in my time in Chicago, public league for 21 years. 21 years I covered them.
You don't look that old.
No. Well, my gray started coming down here, and this is the gray hair my wife picks out, and she says, "Did you see how long this hair is?"
I love it. I've been covering DePaul basketball since 2006, and spottier times before that and after that. But the thing is that one thing that I would love to see DePaul do is get back to the NCAAs. I would like to see them. Doug Bruno deserves so much in the way of credit for all that he has done for women's basketball. He's in the Hall of Fame. We can't deny that, but he has created not only an atmosphere where they can academically succeed and succeed in life. He also went to 17 consecutive NCAA tournaments. And the last couple of years, it hasn't happened. I think it's just a matter of the recruitment that he's been able to do, and the greener pastures elsewhere. But for the type of school DePaul is, he's right on top with the best of them. With UConn, with Tennessee, with all of those who have been, as far as I'm concerned, if he had a bigger recruiting pool and a bigger staff, maybe he could beat South Carolina. He could be a Dawn Staley. But
I had the chance to meet Doug Bruno many years ago, and
he's a friend.
Wonderful. Yeah, he is a friend.
I love him.
He is a friend, because the first time that I did the Girls Public League tournament, it was hosted at DePaul, and I had the chance to cover that. I'm writing my notes down, and the next thing I know, Doug Bruno's sitting next to me.
Of course. What? That's Doug.
I talked to him. He's one of the coaches I met in Chicago who's very dear to me.
Yes.
At that time, he said, next year, anytime you want to come see us play, I'll help you get a media pass. He did.
God love him.
He did. And I was at DePaul all that following season. But it was fun. But it's fun for me covering women's sports. We're up against the break, and Alison Moran, love you very much. Thanks for stopping by. As you always do, dropping the knowledge on women's sports. And Snowman Multimedia is going to be covering a lot more women's sports, and this young lady is going to help us out. Thank you, Allie. I appreciate you.
Love you guys too, and I will see you next week with more words about Cheryl Swoops.
Yeah, we'll save that war for next week. Thanks, girl. Appreciate you.
Sounds good. Have a great day.